Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. A bit of a different video for you today. I do get asked a lot of questions about my helmet setup because you've seen various bits of it in videos. And I should have done a video long before now, but here we are. So I use an M-Tech Flux. With the Flux, because they have M-Lock rail segments here instead of the little sliding jobbies. I'm not as clued up on helmets, so I don't know the terminologies. I had to go to an Earmore. Now this is the M32s. These are the Mil Pro Mark IIIs. They are more expensive than the standard ones. The only reason, to be honest with you, I went with this headset was because it folded up from the back, which is what I wanted, which is what I'd seen, a lot of other people using. I was like, I kind of want that. And it was the only one really available for this style of mounting point. Now, there may be other methods out there. I'm just unaware of them, or I don't know what they are. So I don't generally use a radio. People do use radios successfully. Every time I've ever used a radio, it just goes to shit, so I never use it. I would much prefer to have this without this radio connector on. So I'm actually contemplating just taking these apart and just ripping this out because I never use it. So, and it does get in the way. I'm always tucking it down behind the plate carrier. You can see here, I have used this helmet, but you can see the wiring's already getting damaged. I don't know if this has just been caught on something or whether it's been shot while I've been playing, but there it is. I did have a spare when I bought this. So, Agilite cover. I'm using the Novrich anti-fog just because it was available to me at the time. A lot of people roasted me about that. And on the front, I use DJI cameras. Now these are, I've had everything from the early, contour cameras from all the generations of GoPro. And to be honest with you, I've always had hit and miss results. The GoPros always seem to fail a lot, overheat, stuff like that, even in winter. Since I've moved to DJI, when I got back into filming some gameplay, these have been phenomenal. And they have like a quick swap battery system, so you can just literally open this up, pull your battery out, and you get like a little cassette which holds 3 batteries. It doesn't, charge while they're off like a USB-C, but you can plug the USB-C in and it charges all 3 batteries at once. So I was actually so impressed with this camera, I bought a second one, which I have as a backup, or if I'm doing like on the range stuff, I've got another camera I can set up on a tripod, and I've got 2 of those battery packs. I've got 6 batteries. So if I'm going to a game day, the battery life in this thing is actually phenomenal. Like when I'm playing at HC2, I'll do like 2 games and I'll just swap it out just out of habit because I don't want to be caught out with it. Because a lot of the times, whenever I do something cool, I'm out of battery. And ever since I've been on top of the batteries, I've never done something cool again. So, or had like a good run where you go through and you shoot a lot of people. So, I also have MVG mounts, which of course I use my night vision. Now, I've been using these Novrich goggles, which I can't remember if I showed you before, but basically, as that falls out, I have been so impressed with these goggles. Now, these aren't produced by Novrich. They're actually found out they're produced by a company called Pyramex. They're about £30, and basically with the Novrich anti-fog, you get this little adapter. So you basically have to cut a hole in the top, put this in. What I will say is make sure that you glue this together because mine just kept coming off. And what it does, it basically takes the air in the top and you've got these little slots on each side and it just pushes it towards the lens. There's been so many times I've been in, and especially in summer when I was doing like the Gauntlet or I'm doing CQB games, that I forgot to turn the anti-fog on. And these are so resilient to fogging. I am so impressed with these goggles that it's become my go-to, and I love the fact that they're full seal. So I'm a massive glasses wearer. I've been using Revision and stuff like that for years. I did buy into the hype with these block glasses. Now, these are great. If I'm on the range or doing something like that and I can pop these on, I have no issues with them whatsoever. If I try to use these with any type of Face Pro or helmet, these fog up straight away. Usually they fog up before I even get out of the safe zone, so I just keep them as general shooting glasses. Now, I'm not saying people will have the same experience as I've had, but I bought into the hype with these, and they were on par with the Revision glasses, so mediocre. But I started using these, and I needed to get air, and you'll see from my helmet, you can't see any air lines at all, any tubes. But if we flip this over, you can see I've routed it on the inside of the helmet. It does clear all the straps and everything like that. It comes out the back here. I do need to open. It has worked perfectly fine like this. Many people say, you know, you're restricting the airflow. Honestly, it's worked fine. But what I'll do is I might just cut. I don't want to cut too much out of this Agilite helmet cover because it was more expensive than the helmet. But I might just relieve this a little bit just to increase the airflow. And I've routed this all round, and it has the magnet on there. So I put my goggles on first. I put my face pro on. I put my goggles on. I'm wearing this, and you do have to, like, kind of, as you're putting your helmet on, just make sure everything lines up with the magnets, and then the magnets click in, and it sort of holds like that. And a lot of people have commented on it when I've been at games as, like, I don't even see the hoses. The only time you really see it is at the back. The next thing I want to get onto is a solution I found for kinking hoses. So if you do anything like this, I've seen a lot of people use the normal, what's that other anti-fog company? I can't quite remember. But using these tubes, and they're getting kinked. So what I did is I quickly measured the internal diameter of these tubes, and I went and bought springs. Springs, you can buy them in like meter long lengths. I think with this one initially, I was measuring it up, and then I just found a bunch of springs that I had, and they were a perfect fit. So it is a bit of a ball ache getting them through the tube. So I just cut the tubes to length, laid them out. I put a piece of wire through them to the spring on the opposite end, and then I pulled it through. And what this just completely eliminates is you kinking your hoses. So here's a good tip for you all out there. Many people have asked me about it, asked if I can do a quick video explaining it, and I keep forgetting. I've been meaning to do this for months. So that's what I do. Put some spring in there, and it stops the hoses being kinked. I'm sure someone's done it before. I'm not claiming to have invented this, but it's not something that I found. It was just something that when I was doing the helmet, I was like, I could just put a spring in here, because especially with this here, that would kink up straight away, and it's just eliminated that. So don't ask me what the specs on the spring are. I really don't know. Just you can go to spring companies and you can get like meter length long cuts of certain springs at certain diameters. So as long as it's smaller, slightly smaller than the inner diameter of the tubing, this one was pretty much the same size. If it's smaller than the diameter of the tubing, you're probably going to pull it through a lot easier. This one was really tight, so it did take me a bit to get it in there. But since then, I've never had an issue with the tubes kinking. And obviously it goes into the Novrich Anti-Fog, which, to be honest with you, I've come across many Novrich products. And I know that the goggles aren't a Novrich product, but this has been my best experience with a Novrich product ever. The anti-fog, I leave it in there usually, and then if I'm going to a game, I just plug a little battery power bank in there just to keep it topped up. But you can't even hear that. Sometimes you'll hear it a little bit through these because they amplify sound, but it's very, very, very quiet. So best experience I've had with Novrich products, even though these are just a Pyramex, like, rebranded stuff, which isn't a problem. They're cheap. Now, I was using these for a while, and they were absolutely phenomenal. They are a dual lens, and then I went to a game, and they'd completely, like, they were fogged up, and I just went to clean them. And I didn't have anything to clean them, so in my car, I had a cleaning solution and a brand new microfiber which came with a pair of sunglasses that I bought a while ago. I was like, sweet, I'll use that. So I missed it on the front and the back, and I don't know whether it reacted with this plastic lens, but you might not be able to see it here, but you can see the scratches. So these plastic back pieces scratch incredibly easy, and basically this is glued on to the front lens. And the last time I went, when I was shooting the MP9, you might see it in the video where I'm saying I can't see anything. It was like these were frosted up all the way, because I just could not see a thing, even though they look clear. You know, you put them over your eyes, especially when you're in a dark environment. So I was asking the guys, I was cleaning it with some anti-fog, and I was like, you know what, I just ended up pulling the lens out, and this is like glued on with like a little bit of foam. So you've got a proper lens at the front, and then this is just a piece of plastic. It's a bit like pin lock, if you're familiar with that in motorcycle helmets. So I ended up just ripping this off, and I was like, you know what, I'll just replace it. And then again, I could see perfectly the lens is very, very good. This one's quite scratch resistant. This one isn't. It was a brand new microfiber, and it scratched it pretty much straight away. And then after that, it was useless. So I'll buy another set. I think these The Novrich ones sell for about 20, 29, 30 euros. You can get them in place in the UK. You can also buy the Pyramex ones, which I have seen have shot up in price. I think Pyramex branded ones, which are identical, they probably just won't come with the Novrich bag, which, you know, doesn't mean anything. I've seen places like Patrol Base selling them for like $29.99. So what I'll probably do is I'll just buy another set. What would be nice is if you could buy replacement lenses, because you can actually take these out. I took the lens completely out, ripped that back piece off, put it back in. It was very easy to do, and away I went. So with how little cost they are, like $29.99 to me for a product that's this good, that's, you know, ballistically rated, it's got all the accreditations on it, is phenomenal. So this is, I'm blown away. I've never ever in airsoft, in the 15 or so years I've been doing it, I've never ever worn goggles like this, and I am a convert. It just means I can shove this in my helmet. I've got the anti-fog there. I only ever have it on the first click because it really doesn't need a lot. Just helps circulate a bit of air, and I can see. So I was predominantly a massive mesh user, because using glasses, I was always fogging up. Years ago, I had to wear glasses and I was using contacts, and I ended up having my eyes having the laser surgery on my eyes, so I can see fine. Just they always fog up, and I was sick of dealing with it, so I went to mesh. Now, if you're going indoors and you go into a like a CQB environment and it's dark like HC2 is, mesh just doesn't do you any favours. So I'm glad I tried these. I'm going to get another couple of sets of these, I think, as spares. It's just a solution that I've found that works for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but this solution works for me, and I'm going to stick to it. So that's my helmet setup. It's a cheap PTS MTech Flux helmet with an expensive cover on and some expensive ear pro. Like I say, I think I'm going to take this apart. I might even just cut this off, because it does my head in, and I very, very rarely, almost never use a radio. So if there's anyone out there that knows of a solution that's like this, that's just ear defenders, that mounts to this M-Lock setup, please get in touch with me and let me know, because I'm happy to take a look. And I would like something really nice, like Swordins or something, if I can find a mount that goes to this, because these have been all right, just they're very expensive for what they are. So that's the helmet setup I use. I hope I've helped you in any way with the tips and bits on this. Now, just before I go mounting this, I found these Velcro, they're like cable ties. You get them with like PCs and stuff. So it's like a piece of Velcro that's like on a loop, and it's got a hole in the end. So what I did is I just pulled the loop through, and then what I can do is I can just set the Velcro behind the pads, and it perfectly holds this in place without kinking it and having to use cable ties and such. So there you go. I'll let you get back to your day and whatever you're doing. Thanks for tuning in if you have. Hope this has helped anyone. If you've got any questions, of course, you can come and ask in the Discord. The link's in the description. But for many of you that have asked what my setup is, there it is. And so far, it's the best setup I've come across. So appreciate your support on the channel. Some interesting things coming up. And we'll be seeing you from me and Bench in the next one.